Welcome back to the Grind, Sleep, Repeat podcast. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about how running can increase your appetite, but also stall your fat loss.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people think that running is the go-to. If they're trying to lose weight, they say, okay, I need to run more, I need to eat less. And that's the go-to for losing fat and losing weight. But a lot of times running can make you more hungry. We'll talk about why that is. We'll talk about, how that can stall your fat loss and how sometimes actually can make you gain weight. And it can be really frustrating because you think that you're doing all the things. You think that, I'm running, I'm eating right, and I should be losing weight, but you're not. So today, we're going to talk about how if you are looking to lose fat, but you also want to run, how do you blend that in your program? How can you still run while prioritizing the goal of losing body fat and avoid a lot of the hunger cues that you can get when you start any sort of running program?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, first off, when they think of fat loss, they instantly think of cardio and, oh, I need to start increasing my cardio, which is accurate. But if you over increase that quickly and you start realizing like, oh, wow, I'm burning more calories and I'm feeling more and more hungry now. Same with weight training. I mean, it increases your appetite, but I think you then think, okay, now that I went for this run and did all this cardio, I can eat more because I burned X amount of calories. And that's kind of where we're going to go into depth on why and how that can mess with your mindset, but also can mess with your hunger cues.
Yeah, I think that's a really dangerous way to think of, because I did this amount of work today, I deserve this meal, this ice cream, this dinner, this snack, whatever it is. But, the basis of fat loss is you're trying to burn more calories than your body is consuming. And if you're, consistently eating 500 extra calories every day, that's where you accumulate body fat over time. And that's where you need to stay in a caloric deficit in order to lose that body fat, for your body to take that fat and use it as energy. And it's not a quick process, it's a slow process. But that mindset of like, okay, I worked really hard today, I get this. If you think that way, you're really going to struggle. You're going to spin your wheels because again, you're minimizing that deficit that we're creating. The workout is there to burn calories, and what really matters is that at the end of the day, your calories are lined up and you are in a caloric deficit. And if you constantly think that, hey, worked out really hard today, I deserve this dinner, I deserve this ice cream, I deserve this donut, or whatever it is, it's going to be a really long process and it's going to stall that fat loss and it's going to make it a lot more frustrating along the way.
One of the ways to avoid this from happening would be to make sure that you're eating regularly and fueling your body properly throughout the day so that you avoid these hunger crashes or these, long periods of time where you're not eating and then you get super hungry because you are burning more calories from increasing your running volume. So making sure you're fueling your body right before you go for that run, during that run, after that run. We've chatted and we can go in depth a little bit on that too, but we've chatted about what that looks like and how to fuel your body properly with running and before, during, and after your runs. And I think if you really prioritize on focusing on fueling your body and exerting the energy that your body needs to perform well, I think you're going to avoid these instances where you feel that those cravings and that hunger really kick in at the end of your run. Because if you're fueled properly through that run, you're not going to get done with that run and go, oh, wow, I'm starving. I need to eat, this, and this. But if you fuel your body throughout the day and you're eating every 3 hours, you're hydrated, your body will reward you and not necessarily give you all these hunger cues that you typically would have.
Yeah, I think, what I always notice is when we're increasing running, and it's typically more like aerobic cardio, so like longer runs, they really stimulate your appetite a lot more. They make your stomach secrete ghrelin. So that's your hunger hormone. And that's something that I notice. I don't notice as much with strength training, and I don't notice as much with like high intensity cardio. But you need to do aerobic cardio. It's beneficial for everyone. Everyone can benefit from doing aerobic cardio. Now, it doesn't have to be running, but specifically with running, I think you go for a 30, 45-minute, 60-minute run, you burn all these calories. And that's where I notice the hunger cues are coming pretty quick after that run or later on that day. And I think Alyssa made a good point is yes, we all have X amount of calories that we're trying to eat in a day based on our body composition, based on our own metabolism and your own goals. But, you can structure your calories a lot differently and you can eat things that are very high volume and that are going to fill you. These are typically your healthier option foods, protein sources at every meal and every snack, your carbohydrate sources, switching in, instead of doing high carb noodles or high carb rice, even switching in sweet potatoes or red potatoes or white potatoes, which you get a lot more volume in a potato for the amount of carbohydrates compared to the same amount of carbohydrates of rice. Mixing in vegetables, mixing in fruit, things that are really going to fill you throughout your day. I think if you structure your diet accordingly that way, at the end of the day, you're not going to run into all these cravings because maybe you had a protein shake for breakfast, you had a protein bar, and then you did a meal replacement shake for lunch, and you haven't had any whole food. Then yeah, you're going to be hungry. You're going to finish your workout and you're going to want to eat everything. And, it's up to you if you're going to make a good choice or not. And more times than not, probably not going to make a good choice, or you're going to justify, say, I haven't eaten a lot today. I'm going to make this and I'm going to have this because I earned it, just like we talked about earlier. So eating high volume, high quality foods for breakfast, lunch, dinner, your snacks, having protein each meal is something that can keep you satiated and full and is going to minimize the likelihood that you go on a binge, or where you go, like, let's just say, long periods of time without eating. Then yeah, you're probably going to want to binge, or the likelihood of that happening is a lot higher.
Yeah, that's gonna help balance out those blood sugars and keep you from crashing too, whereas if you eat these high carb meals and you don't balance it with the protein, you're gonna get this big insulin spike, and then it's gonna dip back down, and that's where we crash, and then those cravings increase. So I think it's important to continuously make sure you're eating every few hours and staying hydrated, and that's going to help with those hunger cues, along with not just running, but lifting. And, everybody should be following those things as well. But also, I think it's important that when you're running, you're not saying, I'm running to lose weight. It should be something that you're doing to be healthy, or maybe it's a performance goal. Like right now, I'm training for this half marathon, so it's strictly performance driven. So instead of saying, I have to go on this run because I want to lose 5 to 10 pounds, and if I don't go on this run, it's going to ruin me. I'm not going to lose this weight, blah, blah, blah. It's strictly performance driven. So you're like, in order for me to hit my correct mileage, I need to make sure that I'm properly hydrated, I'm properly fueled, I have enough carbohydrates to get me through this run. I'm bringing gels or chews along the way to continue to replace that glycogen so that I can make it through these runs. Whereas when you're running to lose weight, you're not thinking about those things, and it becomes harder and it's frustrating because you are going to have those instances where you crash.
Yeah, I think that's something that we've talked about so many times in podcasts before, and you hit the nail on the head there, is you got to flip your mindset of, yes, it's okay to want to lose weight. Like, everybody has body composition goals that they're trying to chase, but the program needs to be structured in a way that's going to support those goals. And the thinking of eating less and restricting calories really heavily and moving more, I'm doing more cardio, more workouts, I'm working out twice a day, that thought process does not work. That doesn't work in the real world application of trying to lose body fat. And, a lot of times too, one thing that you mentioned too is hydration. A lot of times people think that they're hungry when really they're just thirsty and they're not hydrated. So we want to make sure that we're at least drinking half your body weight in ounces in water every single day. Some people might need more. And if you're somebody that you're working hard, you're working out, we'll always do at least one scoop of our Pink Starburst Fit Grind electrolytes every day. Typically, we'll do that post-workout. Sometimes if it's a really sweaty run, we'll do it before the run and after the run. But that's something that's going to keep you hydrated because the water is good. It's going to mask some of those hunger cues because, like I said, you might feel like you're hungry when actually you're just thirsty, pushing some water. But you also want to replace that if you're increasing water as well with electrolytes. So electrolytes is something that we'll do at least once a day. If you guys would like to check out our Pink Starburst Fit Grind electrolytes, we'll leave the link to these down in the description below. We'll even leave you a discount code that you can use to save on your first order. So go check these out. It's a Pink Starburst flavor. It's freaking tastes awesome. Has no added sugar, no artificial flavors or sweeteners. Has 0 grams of added sugar. All it has is potassium, magnesium, and sodium. So everything you need and nothing that you don't.
Yeah, for sure. I think too, like you said, hunger can be mistaken for thirst, so if you're dehydrated, but also sometimes hunger can be such a social thing or boredom. A lot of people, they're bored, so they eat, or, you have the social event, so you're stressing about that and you're like, okay, I can't eat because I know I'm going to go out with my friends tonight. So I'm going to I'm gonna work out really hard, and then I'm gonna not eat until I go out to dinner tonight with my friends. And while in your brain this may make sense, like, oh, I'm gonna eat less if I do it this way, actually what happens is we starve ourselves for so long, and then by the end of that night, you are so hungry that you're gonna overindulge and you're gonna actually end up eating probably more than you would have if you would have just eaten the proper amount that you normally would throughout the day. Focus on your protein, hitting your protein goal, and keeping those blood sugars balanced out throughout the day, and then going with your friends and enjoying in moderation, going out to dinner, looking at the menu ahead. But I think, we have to find ways that we can enjoy life still and balance these things. And I think when people think, weight loss, they think cardio, they think restriction, they think, cutting out all these things, and we overload those things all at once, and it overwhelms us, and then we're not realistic and we're not able to stick with those goals, and then you're putting in all this effort to do something for a short period of time, and then you just end up going back to your old ways.
Yeah, the program has to really line up for your specific goals, maybe time frame goals that you have, either body weight gain, body weight loss, like all the things have to be put in the program and structured together to really see the results that you want to see. And if you guys are listening to this podcast and you're someone that's struggling to put a program together to either lose body fat, build muscle, how do I lift? How do I run? What should my diet look like? You have lots of questions. We would love to help. We are gym owners and personal trainers here. We've helped over hundreds of people reach their goals of building muscle, losing body fat. And we also offer online coaching. If you're looking to have all the guesswork taken out, you want a program, you want a diet plan customized for you, we would love to help. We have a link down in the comment section below where you can click on that link, fill out a form, and you can request more information about our online coaching program, to where we can help you along the process, not only create the program, but also adhere to the program, progress the program as you make progress, and just be the person that can answer all those questions and take out all the guesswork. So, like I said, if you're interested in learning more, go click the link down in the comment section below, go fill out that form. Let's set up time to chat more about our online coaching program.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too is just keeping in mind with, we have these clients who come in here and they put in such effort in their workouts, and we're specifically talking about running today, putting in all this effort in your running programs, and you come in and you work really hard, and then you think, okay, I've put in all this work, now I can go home and I can have the cookies and I can have the cake and I can have all the things, and you're throwing away all the work that you've put in at the gym when you're doing that, because you're not fueling the body with what it needs to recover from those workouts and build the muscle that you're trying to build through those workouts as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think another big piece to the puzzle is the strength training aspect, and like we talked about earlier, I think a lot of times people think that, if I want to lose weight, I got to put my running shoes on, I got to go for runs, I got to restrict my calories. And that's great. It's a great place to start. But when you're running, you're burning calories. As soon as you stop, you're not burning any calories. So that run by itself is not a great investment for your time if that's all you're doing. I think a better strategy is to implement running with your diet with strength training. And that's really what we're all about. We love to strength train, we love to run, and obviously everybody needs to structure their diet in a way that's going to support their goals. So running is great. It's going to burn calories, and yes, it can burn fat, but that's all you're doing. You're not building your metabolism. Strength training, you're going to build muscle, you're going to improve your physique, but you're also going to build your metabolism, where the more muscle you have, the more calories you're going to burn at rest. So I know a lot of times people will lose all this weight. They'll spend hours of time doing their cardio workouts. They'll really restrict their diet, restrict their calories, and then, they get off that diet and workout program, and then they put all the weight back on. Whereas if you can improve your metabolism by building muscle, it's almost like investing in your future and saying that, if you can build a couple pounds of muscle, you might be burning an additional 50 to 150 calories at rest. And over time, that's going to really help you maintain your weight or maintain the weight loss that you have seen success with. And then also just make sure that you don't have to do cardio continuously, because a lot of times people create their caloric deficit through cardio. Whereas if you can use a mixture of conditioning and running and strength training together, you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours on the treadmill just to create that caloric deficit. You're going to have a healthier metabolism. It's going to be a lot more sustainable. And over time, you're going to be able to see the progress, but also maintain the progress a lot easier.
Yeah, not only is that going to be beneficial from a fat loss standpoint, but it's also very beneficial from a mental standpoint too. Like, right now for me being in this half marathon training, it's like the runs are priority. So making sure that I prioritize those runs and getting outside, getting in the mileage. And, when I have my strength training days and strength training only, it brings excitement to me. So I'm like, okay, I'm excited to come to the gym and work out. And when you have a good balance of both, I think it can bring excitement to, okay, I get a break from, my strength training. I'm going to go outside, get some fresh air, and go for a run. And that is just a healthy balance mentally as well as physically. You're incorporating cardio and you're incorporating strength training. And both of those just go so hand in hand together. And it's going to help with that weight loss process even more.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really missing right now. My ankle, for you guys that don't know, listen to the podcast, I severely sprained my right ankle on a run about 6 weeks ago. 2 weeks later, I sprained my left one, and I'm not able to run right now, which I'm really bummed, because like this time of year is super nice. Like it's so nice outside. It'd be really awesome to just like get out of the gym on a time that I have a gap between training sessions, go for a run, clear my head. That's one thing I love, but I'm really looking forward to getting back to that. But I love the balance of strength training and running. And I think those two things can really complement each other. I think the main takeaway here is that you can't justify your hard work and say that I burned 500 calories in my workout today. That means that I can have this cookie or have this ice cream. Every once in a while, yes, it's not the end of the world. And we are firm believers of practicing balance. But what I'd rather say is, if you have specific goals, if you have goals of fat loss or muscle gain or whatever your body composition goals are, one, we need to set a time frame for that goal. So it can't just be like, I want to lose 10 pounds, and what time frame do you want to lose 10 pounds? So set that time frame, but then also let's focus for that time frame. So, okay, I have a wedding coming up in 6 months. I want to lose X amount of weight or X amount of body fat or put X amount of muscle on. Let's focus on doing that and replicating that and putting the program together in a way that you can sustain that progress and keep making progress, and not having it feel like it's so not realistic in your everyday life. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. And I think that running and lifting can really complement each other, because it's not 7 days of lifting, it's not 7 days of running. Like Alyssa mentioned, it's mentally stimulating, where some days you're having different focuses. But the main thing is your diet has to support those goals as well. You can't be, it's impossible to out-train a bad diet. That would be an awesome video that we could do in the future, where we burn a calorie and we eat a calorie, and just show how hard it is to actually out-train a bad diet. And I would say that it's impossible to do over the long term. So something that you have to have the perfect program to balance everything out to reach your goals. And if any one of those pieces is off, it's going to hinder the progress that you're going to see, and it's going to be very frustrating.
You need to choose something that is sustainable for your lifestyle, but also keep in mind that it's going to be uncomfortable when you're trying to lose weight. When you're in a calorie deficit, it's not the time to go out to the bars with your friends, go out to dinner every weekend, go get dessert every weekend. You're going to have to make some changes and make some sacrifices. And that's part of, having a goal and being able to hit those goals. Same with being in this half marathon prep. I'm not choosing to go out and party on the weekends. My Sunday mornings are my long runs. So Saturday, I'm not staying up late. I'm not going out having drinks. I'm going to bed early, making sure I get enough sleep. We typically have kids in sports anyways. So like our life is set up to just grind.
Yep.
So it works out that way. But, if you have a goal, you really do have to be able to lock in and focus on that, but also set yourself up with things that you can carry on after. So you hit your weight loss goal. Now, you were doing that for 8 weeks, focused, dialed in really hard for 8 weeks. Obviously, some people have these long-term goals of like 50 pounds, 100 pounds, but you have to take diet breaks, right? So you have to go back to your maintenance, And when you go back to your maintenance, you can kind of take a little break there and then go back into your dieting phase and be able to give yourself these breaks, but making sure that you set yourself up on a platform that is going to carry over into that maintenance phase. Because if you're grinding, working hard, running and lifting, and then when you go into maintenance, you just stop, you just don't do anything, that's going to be hard to go back into that fat loss phase or to be able to stay at that maintenance and, continue to have that weight loss goal that you have and reach that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're somebody that's going out partying every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, you're drinking, you're, sleeping in, you're getting poor sleep, and you're going out and doing drive-through food, fast food 4 or 5 times a week, and you're not serious about your fitness journey and your goals, we're probably not your cup of tea. But if you are someone that is ready to make those changes, you're ready to make some sacrifices, you're serious, we know exactly how to help you, and we would love to help you guys. So we have lots of content. Alyssa has a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. We have lots of previous videos on this podcast, both on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. And like I said, if you are looking for more structure and you're looking for a coach to help you stay accountable, to take all the guesswork out, we would love to help you guys create a program. So if you're interested more in our online coaching, go click that link down in the comment section below, request some more information, and let's set up time to chat. So I hope this video was helpful today, guys, on how you can balance running, strength training, and your diet, and how, just because we run doesn't mean that we need to eat more calories, and how you can balance those hunger cues that you get. And if you guys have more questions, let us know. We'd love to help out. Just let us know down in the comment section below.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.